Hey there, welcome to this tutorial where I'll be taking you through the creation of a kind of casket, coffin, dead man's box, whatever you want to call it, but it's going to be related to the crypt scene that I'm building in the other tutorial. But yeah, let's get started with this. So basically, when you open Zbrush, you'll be confronted with all this kind of stuff. This is insane here. It's like the projects tab opens by default and you've got all this stuff in here. These are like other projects that I've been kind of working on, but you could actually, once you've saved, you open it up from there. But what we want is to close that by hitting the Lightbox tab. Go to, let's open our cylinder 3D object. I think this is just a primitive at the moment, so you need to be in edit mode, so hit T in order to activate that. In order to move around your object, you hold left mouse button on the canvas and just kind of drag around. That will rotate around your object. I can see that I can't interact with this object just yet. Yeah, it's a 3D primitive at the moment, but we need to convert to a polymesh 3D. But I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, so left mouse button and click and drag on the canvas to rotate. Now if you want to zoom out, you hold Alt, left mouse click, then release Alt, then just scroll up and down. It will zoom in and out. In order to pan, all you're doing is holding the Alt button, left mouse button to the canvas, and then just continue to hold Alt and left mouse button and just kind of drag around. That's basically it. You can also snap the view, to rotate around your object. To do that, all you do is left mouse button on the canvas and hold shift, and just kind of drag around. Now what you can do is, while keeping your left mouse button held, release shift. Actually no, so you hold shift, then left mouse button, release shift, then you can kind of pivot it or rotate kind of on its side. That can be useful in a number of occasions, but that's the basics of getting around your canvas. So what we want to do is make polymesh 3D. Go to initialize, and we want a cube. So basically, anyone who's used Max, Maya or Modo will recognize your cube with the segments. Let's change the material so we can actually see these polygroup colors a little bit more clear. These polygroups, the importance of these will come in a bit later on, but what we want to do is essentially just drag these points into the shape of a coffin. So yeah, right. So best way to do this is to use the move tool, or the transpose line, which I think it's called. But basically what we're going to do is hold Control, left mouse button, drag on the canvas. Just select points like that. But of course we need symmetry. So what we're going to do is hit X. Did that do anything? Alright, you can see it's over there. So yeah, always pay attention to where those points are. As you can see, if I hit X, it deactivates symmetry on the X axis. Hit X, and that is our kind of X axis right there. So what we're going to do is use the move transpose line, mask off those areas, then hold Control, left click on the canvas. That inverts the selection. You can also hold Control I to invert your mask, so we'll just get a bit more thickness there. Drag out these areas. So we want to be manipulating this center point, or this center circle. and hold shift in order to make sure it doesn't start dancing all over the place, so hold shift to keep it straight. And of course we'll mask off this center bit, hold shift. Now for this to, because obviously we don't want to move the entire selection, all we want to do is essentially drag out these 2 points, so we're going to use this kind of leftmost kind of circle thingy. Just affect this profile a little bit. And we can make it a little bit thicker. In order to activate your perspective, you can go over to the right here and just hit the button, perspective button, or hit P on your keyboard, and that'll activate symmetry, which makes viewing this a little bit easier. Now what we want to do is some basic kind of polygon modeling. So what we'll do is hit brush ZModeler. We want the ZModeler brush. So the this is your brush menu, where you've got all of your 3D brushes that affect you kind of polymorph 3D objects. So in order to quickly get to our ZModeler brush, we hit B to bring up our menu, press Z or Z, however you want to pronounce that. And as you can see here, you hit M for the ZModeler brush. That is basically your kind of keystrokes to quickly select the ZModeler brush. So now what we want to do is inset these polygons that we see here. However, we need to separate some of these polygroups, because you can see all of this kind of band here of purple is all one polygroup, which is not what we want. So in order to separate these, what we're going to do is hold Alt, left mouse click, drag on there like so. We'll right click in order to bring up our kind of menu here. As you can see, we've got polygon, actions, target, and modifiers. This is context sensitive, so if we right click on this face here, we get the polygon actions. If we right click on the edge, we get edge actions. If we right click on that point, we get point actions, or the respective menu. So we want the polygon actions, and we want to select polygroup. What you're going to do is hold the left mouse button down. You can see it changes the polygroup, but if you wish to cycle through different polygroups, you hit Alt. You can see we can cycle through different colors to go with like a pink. I'll do the same under here. Now if you just release it once while holding the left mouse button, it'll do Alt. If you just release Alt, you'll get the same color as your previous selected kind of color. So that'll do for now. They're all separate and not like running into each other. Right. So like I said, what we're going to do is inset this area. Now to be safe, we could set that to a different colours at the bottom, just so we can tell the difference, which will come in use much later on. And here, I suppose. So what we want is, if it's inset region, because we don't want to affect each individual polygon, go to polygroup island. So this basically, our action is to inset our target is a polygroup island, which is exactly what we're seeing here, this green island. And the modifiers kind of just modifies how our action will be applied to our target. So we wanted to inset the entire region like so. Actually, I'll show you by default is inset each poly. As you can see, it insets each individual poly. So we want to insert the region. Let's make this, give it a nice thickness. Now what we want to do is go to Q mesh, single poly. No, we don't want polygroup island. We'll just keep them as default. As you know, as you can see, it's kind of auto snapping into oblivion there. It's kind of getting rid of that bottom kind of face, but that's a kind of a feature of QMesh. It can be very useful. In this case, it's not quite what we want, but what we do is to repeat the action and take it much lower. If you want, you could actually just get rid of this poly loop in here by holding Alt and left clicking. So there we have a our kind of basic mesh for our casket, complete with an interior. Next we'll be creating some boards that kind of plonk around in here. Go to append, get Q, press F to kind of center the view on that object. But make sure you've got it selected in the awesome tools. So right now we need to initialize Q cube. There we go. In fact, let's get rid of these edges by holding Alt and then clicking on them. Because we don't really need them. It's just going to be a plain old plank of wood. Now we can just kind of duplicate and create little planks. I think should be a bit wider, maybe. Get a little bit more shallow. Essentially with these, I just want to drag them around the object. Let's make it a little bit wonky. Now, while we're in move mode, hold Control Shift to create a duplicate. Now that works as long as you don't have any subdivision levels on your object. And again, to make it a little bit wonky. Again, make another duplicate. Drag these into place. now I'll go back to, see, these are all like separate now, but what we'll do is create like a vertical version. So I'll create another duplicate and just holding left mouse button, hold shift is kind of rotated upwards. Now he's gone a little bit wonky, but we can fix that with just the move transpose line. Then just kind of rotate him around. Doesn't have to be perfect, in fact, imperfection might look a little bit more realistic. Where should I place him? There we go. Place these around the coffin. It's kind of the basics, just kind of bashed out. Don't necessarily need that. Okay. And we've got the lid. So that's kind of like a basic little polygon model of casket, or you know, like a coffin. We could make that a little bit skew with, so it's not sitting perfectly on there. Just use like the move tool to kind of skew it a little bit, just so it's not like clinically sat on there, which in reality it wouldn't be, would it? It'd be or wouldn't be perfect. So I don't think there's much else you would have to do for a low polygon model of this casket. As for the blocking, I can just kind of bash this into my scene, start kind of use it to help block out certain areas. But for a low polygon model, I think this is pretty much all you'd really need. The rest will be kind of sculpted detail to use in the normal map, which we'll be doing next. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Hope this was helpful anyway. Hopefully wasn't that long. Pretty simple. Well, that's it for part 1. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next part. We'll go into the sculpting and all the nice detail bits, so see you then.